Can anyone hear me? I thought David was here, but I don't know what's going on.
Yo.
Come on, boys. What you doing?
How are we, Blues?
You hear me?
Dev, Chris. Yeah, we can hear you, lad. Can you hear us?
What the fucking hell was that?
Oh, fantastic start to the freaking edit, isn't
it? You know what? I'm just going to start off and say the Leeds fans, they're very good. The stadium is great. You can park straight outside the ground. The food choice is good. The only bad thing about that experience was Everton not prepared for the intensity of the match. All over the place for 45 minutes. And then in the second half, Jordan Pickford and Carlos Alcaraz, suicidal, and Chris Kavanagh with the ego of come up with someone with a big ego. I can't think of anything else right now. With an awful decision and asked to be the star of the show. But it is inexplicable. Inexplicable, that performance.
Yeah, performance was absolutely garbage. I mean, to be fair, I had for a 3-1 win. As soon as I seen that back four, I just thought to myself, like, we'll have to play for the draw here. Which it didn't even feel like that at the start in the first half, did it? But oh my days, it was so bad.
No.
Kavanagh, by the way,
Can we just also say? Can we just very quickly say, the Friedkin Group, the board, are all responsible for not giving David Moyes the players, the tools he needed to come into this Premier League season and be competitive. The fact that we are in crisis in terms of left back, right winger on the first game is absolutely inexplicable. David.
Yeah, it was a terrible performance. It was a terrible watch. As you said, Everton not prepared in any way, shape or form for that game. First 10 minutes, flying into tackles, like late to every ball, you know. It's just, they were just shocking in that first half. I don't think I've seen them play that bad for a long, long time. And it shows you how underprepared. Now, yes, you can't sort of foresee both your left backs being out. I guess they're both injured. That was one thing, and James Garner did okay filling in there. But just generally, the whole team structure just didn't work. Passing out the back, they just looked brain dead. Pass it straight into Leeds players. Leeds had this intensity. They pressed us. And not only that, Everton was sluggish around the back. They waited 2, 3, 4 seconds for Leeds players to come forward and leave themselves no option. They literally had no options to pass out to, and making long aimless balls. That Beto was just dreadful. Just couldn't hold the ball up at all. Alcaraz shocking. I could go through the whole list of them, but the whole structure was shambolic today. And passing out the back, yeah, they gave it away, and passing it long just went straight to Leeds. So it just never looked like we were going to get something out of the game. We were better in the second half. I don't know if you felt like that in the stadium. We were definitely a bit better in the second half, but as soon as Leeds made some changes and started switching the ball, that's freshened things up, Everton just didn't get to grips with that, and it became a bit of a 50-50 battle, which ultimately led to a penalty and a scrappy sort of win for them, which unfortunately the penalty, yeah, we'll get into that, but probably wasn't a penalty. But we didn't deserve a thing from that. We didn't even attempt to play to win that game. We just attempted to play like we were playing away at Man City. Like, come off it. It's Leeds away. I know there are crowds on it, and they've got a huge following, and they did really well last season, but you can't go there and give them that much respect and not put foot in and just I'll just pass it, sideways and backwards and Pickford and sideways and long and lose it. It's just embarrassing.
The team was disjointed from the start, the positions. And I don't think James Garner had a bad game, in all honesty, as a left back. I'm not singling him out. But there was a lack of balance, a lack of ability to progress the ball from any sort of defence into midfield and vice versa. I didn't like the positions because basically Corey is he's a tactical, expert and really good at this sort of scouting and stuff. No, I'm not. I mean that in all seriousness. I'm not taking the piss. And the problem was that Willie Gnonto just played on the shoulder of Jake O'Brien, and Jake O'Brien is left with two players because Alcaraz is tucking in, and he doesn't know whether to go with the runner in behind Gnonto, or go in with the fullback, or go in with a midfielder and press. And so Leeds just basically played in behind. Everton couldn't get a grip of it in the midfield. Every time we got the ball, it was the same.
Break it up, mate.
Breaking up, yeah.
Just like 80% of our play.
Yeah, your sentences are like Everton's players. They don't string more than a couple of words or passes together.
The thing is, so like Ryan's right. It was. I mean, look, soon you see that start 11 come out, and you see the back
to the full back, pushing into midfield. There was no, and he. Sorry, I lost you. Just continue.
And you did a while ago, lad. Yeah. You are right though. I mean, it's like as soon as you see that back four, the lineup in the back four, you knew it was going to be in for a tough time. I think. You know what? If you'd have just put Jacob O'Brien on the left and James Garner on the right, it would maybe give us even a bit more balance, because you just say we play really, really safe on the left hand side. Jacob O'Brien sit in, just stay central, be a false back, just play that game, and then Garner on the right hand side. But every time that ball was going over to the left, we were cutting in. We weren't able to stretch them at all. We cut inside, and then their midfield, every time their midfield would just be able to win the ball back, because they knew as soon as that ball goes out wide, James Garner's going to cut back in on his right, because he's right-footed. He's done well going from central midfield to playing right back for us, and we appreciate that. He's got a great bit of flexibility. We appreciate what he's done today, and like Ryan said, not singling out, because I think he's put a shift in. Maybe not his overall performance in the end, but after he's put it out of that position, I thought he's done really, really well. He's one of the only players I can think can walk away with some sort of his head held high. But he was having to cut in on that right foot every time. We had no one able to stretch the play, no one who was able to whip the ball on the left. And every time we come back in, that central midfield just mopped the ball up. Then again, the second half, we were much, much better without still doing too much. And then, I mean, even the Leeds United goal, they're doing absolutely nothing. It come because Alcaraz slipped over on the ball, and they got it from there. From that, it's a second phase attack, and then they get the penalty from there.
He had slipped over about 3 or 4 times before that. I don't know whether, and he was on a yellow card. To be honest, I was screaming, "Get him off! Get him off!" McNeil, but McNeil obviously wasn't fit or something, because he didn't come off the bench. You'd think Jack Greenish should come off the bench, win some fouls, and McNeil will put the balls in, and that would be the tactic at the end of the game. But it just didn't seem to happen, and it was too little, too late, in my opinion. It was 75 minutes before really we got those subs on, and then the goal went in, and then it was 85, and then suddenly you 4 minutes to go, and it's all scrambling. It just didn't give enough time to give those players a chance to actually build anything.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. It would give us more time to put more pressure on, and you're right about Alcaraz, especially. I thought actually when he was on the ball in their half, I thought he looked dangerous at times. In the first half, he was the only chance we had to go forward. But like you said, the amount of times he slipped over, he was on a yellow card. Why on earth is he on the pitch? But more importantly, why on earth was he so far back? Why was he one of the last men back? The one who's playing the pivot role in front of the centre backs. Why was he there? Especially if he slipped over that many times, you need to protect him with that much. And I just think Moyes has kind of dropped the ball on this. I can understand that he's been put in a bit of a difficult situation with the lack of signings. That's Ryan's driving into traffic. Don't blame him. But you can give him the benefit of the doubt, or you can give him some sympathy, because he's got the lack of signings. He wants width. He wants a right back. The injuries have come in, but we really dropped the ball on that. Chris is right. New studs for Charlie. And yeah, Armstrong should have come on for him earlier. Can still drop deep. Has a bit more experience playing deep than Charlie Alcaraz does, but he's happy to go forward and be a bit more creative as well. That should have been made way sooner. Well, should have been made in general, to be honest, but definitely before he slips and they get the penalty from that.
Yeah, I mean, did you feel like we improved a bit? I in the second half, I felt like we played a slightly different shape where we had the single line pivot and the two number eights, and it was a little bit better for about 20 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, most of the second half we were rather in control. They may have had like one chance or something like that, but we were. I mean, if you look at the possession stats, we had like 30-odd% possession today, 60-odd, almost 70%
Yeah,
possession.
without
So
creating.
they
Yeah.
battered us. And then the second half, I think we had more possession than them until the last till they scored that goal.
Mm,
So,
yeah.
but we're screaming out for substitutions. We're screaming out for some width. We need a fullback. I don't think anyone is any surprised in terms of what the issues are they, for the club? Like, we can see it's glaringly obvious. And yeah, there's a bit of lack of fortune, misfortune.
It's very, very clear to me that the imbalance comes from not having a capable, press-resistant fullback on both sides who can progress the ball. I think the area for me is so weak that it genuinely wouldn't take an awful lot to go from so weak to a huge upgrade, purely because the options there are just so imbalanced. And I really worry that how can you be in crisis on the first game of the season with injuries, with lack of players, and we have to say, and some fans will slaughter you for this, but it's on the board and the recruitment to allow us to go into a season where apparently we're going to be fighting for European place. Mate, we're not even fucking even stay in the league if we play like that every week.
We're not going to play like that every week.
Generate a decent atmosphere at Bramley-Moore Dock, because it's not the character stadium that generates the old-fashioned style of atmosphere. We're gonna need to bed in and create an atmosphere, and I think that comes also from the quality of players on the pitch. And for me, I'm not enjoying it at all already. And all of this pre-season has bled into this.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't win a game really in pre-season, did we? And now we're coming to Leeds game with a very imbalanced team, and we're going to start our new era at Bramley Moor now on the back of this awful start. I mean, it's not great, is it? I would have been straight away in the summer looking at right wingers, to be honest. I think we went the wrong avenue. I mean, that's probably a whole different video, but and you know, when we got through a month of the transfer window, were we not alarm belling and going, shit, let's just get a couple of players in just to get some bodies in, and then we can work on the more marquee type players after, you know. Let's just not sit around at like waiting for players. Every other team has signed 6, 7, 8 players, and we've signed 4 or 5, and we lost a ton.
Do you know what? I do think that the squad in general, because we've still got the same players that were pretty much there at the end of the season that were doing stuff, and we only got rid of the players that we don't want. So I think the team is in a more positive place, but the lack of a right back, which we desperate for, the lack of wingers. I know that Harrison was garbage, let's be honest, but we still had him as a body, as numbers in. We are completely lacking any wide players. We couldn't bring any wide players on. Obviously, Grealish did come on and played left, but flash. But we just need wingers. Like, we need obviously that main starting left-footed winger, but we need at least another one as well who's going to be able to come on, change the game when it's like that, and we just need to go, right, okay, if you're going to try and catch on the counter-attack, we're going to have someone on the halfway line to spin you around. Because if that was the case, Beto would have come off for Tieno Barry instead of having Barry and Beto on, because Beto stunk the place out as well, but we just don't have the options to bring them on.
Yeah, it's a case of leaving on who we thought was going to get a goal, who was a physical body, but yeah, I mean, Beto didn't look like scoring all day.
I'm not happy with the recruitment at all. And I know I'm being quite negative because I'm emotional. I've just been in that ground of seeing Leeds fans are really, really happy. It almost reminded me of Everton in the prime in the Gladys Street, what we've just witnessed. It was really quite interesting to see. I can't remember what my bloody point was. Oh, my point was, if it were me, and it couldn't have been done, Beto's stock was really high in the summer at the start on the back of those goals. I would have sold him. I would have got my 30 million quid back straight away. I wouldn't have signed Gareth Barry or Barry Manilow or Barry Chuckle, whatever you want to call this bloke, who clearly is nowhere near ready for us at the moment. Maybe soon he will be. But if you're lacking goals, now? Why do I need goals in the future? I need the goals now. I would have sold him. I would have not signed Barry, and I would have put 60 million quid into a striker. I know that is going to come in and score goals because he's got a reputation of scoring goals. Simple goals win games. I then would have gone and thrown everything at another player who scores goals, Richarlison, because let's be honest, he can play off the right, he can play off the left, he can play up front, he scores bloody goals. Okay, it's not that difficult. We knew we wanted Jack Grealish, but we seem to have been fixated on signing this left winger. When we don't need a bloody left winger. What we need is a left back, right back. I almost feel like we've just done this in reverse. And then he's brought a left back in who looked like a rabbit out the headlights against Roma and is going to need time. But I don't feel we are in a position to have development players when the first 11 is so weak. How can you start thinking so progressively? Oh, I'm going to get him because he's going to be good in 2 or 3 years. No, I want someone who's going to be good now. I've had 5 years of shite. I don't need to wait another 2 or 3.
Again, the start 11 that we had, apart from the right-hand side, was quite solid. It is the case, though, that we've not addressed that right-hand side. The bringing the likes of Grealish in, I think, supplements really well. I think I was happy with Mikalenko being the starting left-back with Asnu coming in to displace him. But, again, we just weren't expecting Mikalenko to be injured start of the season. Same with Jared Branthwaite centre-back. There is a bit of misfortune with this. But, and if we didn't have that misfortune, no one would be nowhere near as stressed out and angry with the Friedkin group as they are. It would just be purely, we need a right winger, because that's what the
fucking Friedkin group are pissing me off already. They've pissed around with the ticket system. They've pissed around with the season ticket system. They pissed around with in the transfer market, and I am not going to get a plane, to get a coach, to get a bus, to get a taxi, to walk, to cycle, to swim, to Bramley Moor, to watch turgid football. Turgid football, I'm telling you. You have to put a show on for me and repay my 880 fucking pounds that I've paid and laid out for you to go and buy some players. Corey, you're a transfer expert. You know there are right backs out there who can walk in this team that won't cost much money. Please elaborate.
Yeah, I mean, they're still out there. We said on the preview, didn't we? There are so many right backs out there that we could easily just go out and pinch for less than 25 million. But we haven't done it, and I don't know why we haven't. Is it that they've got a certain profile of player? Is it that they don't want to spend a certain amount of money? Obviously, the only one we've been realistically linked to has been Tete at Fulham, and that was because he was on a free. So is it a case of we do want a right back, but we don't want to spend any money on it? Is that what it is?
I think
like
I'm also going to make a bold statement that I think Leeds are going to get relegated. I'm pretty sure they'll get relegated because that was the worst Everton performance I've seen in the last 3 seasons. And in terms of actual football, and it took a dodgy penalty to beat us.
Yeah, I agree. They've got their centre backs are rubbish. They've got pace in the full back position. They've got energy in midfield. Anton Stack's actually a good central midfielder, but apart from that, they've got pacey wingers, and that's all they did was use their pacey wingers to get behind us. Still couldn't do anything because you don't have.
I would just like to point out, guys, that I don't think Leeds had nothing. Leeds are clearly one of the weaker teams in the league, and I don't think it's fair to describe their offering as nothing if they'd have continued the second half as weak. We were piss poor. They didn't capitalise, and they're going to struggle. But let's look at the reality there. That there's a lot to critique about Everton, but I just don't think it's fair to maybe go off. I just heard in the backstreet there, Ryan, and I just think that the emotion of the game that you've gone to, an away game, the first game of the season, which certainly worryingly sets the tone. You're being very hyperbolic here, mate, and you just need to sort of calm it a little bit. Do you know what I mean? No? Okay.
Leeds have got I'd say Leeds have got a side that could be competitive. It could be competitive. I don't mean competitive up the league. I mean just competitive on a match-by-match basis. And they have that by having, as you said, a bit of pace out wide, some strength in the midfield, a fairly solid, defensive unit. It's the physical qualities they have, and Everton lack a lot of those physical qualities. And you saw how many Leeds have signed about 7 or 8 players over 6 foot. They're preparing themselves to be aggressive and to be set piece ready.
Yes, but Burnley attempted to do that to a certain extent, and look, I'm not trying to say that there aren't issues to do that there, but I just feel it's very one-dimensional to think that the Freakins are blind to this. That they're not going to. They've owned other football groups, right? Other football clubs, and to think that the Everton, the flagship, the most potentially lucrative venture in their footballing portfolio, that they're going to just sack it off just because they've got the stadium and that's going to be it. Yeah, of course, we could have the same Arsenal quandary of do we aim for the top of the league, or do we actually just aim for revenue generation Champions League football? Well, you know what? I don't really care as long as we play better football and aim up there, because it's better than, yeah, absolutely, it's better than what we've had over the last 5 years. But I don't think it's fair to suddenly start attacking a brand new bloody owners that are bankrolling our continued existence.
I get where you're coming from, Jan, but
you're scared him off.
It's the fact that we've not got the players that we should have is an indictment on their performance, or at least the backroom staff who are representatives of them. So it is an indictment. If we don't get a right winger in before the end of the window, no matter how well we've done so far, this summer transfer window will have been a failure.
Let's not adopt incel behaviour for a second, right? Because let's just for a second step back and go, what is actually appealing about Everton? We can't complain about being the friend zone if we're not the attractive person that's going to draw that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but we've still been poor in. There's players out there. We've done this plenty of times. We've done a transfer show on it. There's plenty of right wingers out there within a budget, and we haven't. We've gone around. We've been pissing about going for the wrong players, or just going for different players than we should have been, and we've not got the most important players in the door. Right back.
But we always knew that with Moyes played economy transfer. He played economy ball in the transfer window, which was getting the most bang for his buck. And he's not gonna turn around and pay the £10 million inflated over the market value for a £30 million player up to 40 million just because there's league competition with competitors, and they know that Everton are in need of a shortage in that position. No, he's going to turn around and go, thank you very much, see you later. And quite right, because we are financially constrained. That's just my take on that.
But there are players out there who we could easily get. And I said this the other day when me and Chad were on. I literally said that I'm actually happy if we don't get a right winger now, that we've not got one now, if we get the right one and the best one in when the window finishes. So it is still an indictment, not just on the right winger basis, but also on the right back, because there's absolutely no rumblings of anything in terms of a right back at all. And again, there's multiple right backs out there who can come, and they're not going to cost a bucket load, no more than 25 million. Some of them 10 million. Whether they're attacking, whether they're defensive, whether they're younger, whether they're more experienced, there's plenty of players out there, and there's not rumbling of any of them. Moyes has clearly shown that he's unhappy with that. Same with the right winger situation. He's clearly shown that he's unhappy with the fact that we've not got any right wingers in, or pacey wingers at all, or anything like that. And they're out there again. There's wingers that have gone for less than 20 million who are rapid, have got good output, and they would do well enough in the Premier League. And we've not got it. And I think it is, again, judge them at the end of the transfer window because it's not finished yet. But I do feel like that right-hand side was such an important part. And especially the right-back situation, it's come back to bite us on the backside. James Garner playing left back is, look, that's unfortunate. That's misfortune. We've got Asno in. He's not ready yet. Maybe by October, November, he'll be ready to start playing games. And Mikalenko's got injured. Jared Branthwaite, who maybe would have been able to play left back as well, and we'd have had someone else as centre back because he's left footed. He's injured, and then we're having to play fourth choice centre back, third choice centre back at right back, and a central midfielder at left back. So there's a lot of misfortune there. That's kind of that's. What's the word? Amplified it all, you know what I mean? Magnified it all.
It's like the entourage effect en masse. But I would just like to say in the post-match interview, I can't really comment on Daniel Farks unless one of you is watching right now, but David Moyes talked about quite realistically, when Gary Neville's talking about, the ball's deflected from 15 yards away and you can't, and he's talking about, and if you lean and your arm comes down, yes, Gary, if you lean and your arm comes down, absolutely, but that's not what happens. So can we, you senile idiot, actually look at the reality of what you're commentating and analysing, you complete moron? Like, how do some of these people get jobs? Like, or do they even realise what they've got to do? I'll just go out there and talk about the football blindly, agreeing with what's happened, and just create this whole echo chamber. No, if anything, the controversy creates more generation and revenue for your colleagues, you idiot. Like, I'm sorry, I'm just going to call it as it is, because literally in the post-match interview, David Moyes quite rightly articulates, what is a player supposed to do if the whole point of playing football is to play football, and he goes to lean and his arm remains here, and he says, what's he meant to do? Chop his arm off? Quite right.
He is right. What is he meant to do? Rip his own fucking arm off and shove it up his ass like Mr. fucking Potato Head?
Well, he's got to go for the ball. So I don't know what he was meant to do.
He goes down, his arms behind him. It is, do you know what?
He leaned like, look, the action is, he leaned like this. He didn't do that. He didn't do that. His arm did that. And if anything, in the movement, his hand went behind him, because you can see the replay from the camera behind the goal that when it happens, there are other players with their hands already held behind his back, and he's moving like that. And as he's moving to his left, actually, he moves like this, his left arm, and it goes like that. And it's just because it's there that it hits there. It's ridiculous. Anyway, but we're talking about the penalty. So,
yeah, to go back to what Corey was saying, I agreed about the right winger. That was my number one priority at the start of the window, the complete imbalance. And I've said previously, the players we have, Undai and Alcaraz, and you could now throw in Grealish and Dewsbury Hall now, they all want to play in the 10. We don't have a winger, really. None of them want to play out wide, and they certainly don't want to play on the right wing. And I'd throw in McNeil there and say he's not good right wing. He could probably, he can play left wing, but he should be in the 10 as well. So everyone's playing in the 10. It just doesn't work. But today, my alarm bells were less of the right winger issue, which obviously wasn't great, but more like we just couldn't progress the ball out the back. Like, what's good having Grealish and Alcaraz and players in the pockets? We can't get the ball into midfield. Just not got a competent DM who can pick up the ball. I don't know if that's because Garner was at left back and he'd be better in that role as a deep line. I think he would be better in there. I don't think he would do the job we're looking for, but
you guys are good tactically. So what was the thinking in playing Garner there, that naturally as the game progressed, he'd play into when we had possession, he'd move forward into that sort of into that position on the field, so that he could play as a sort of a locum defensive midfielder, holding wing back kind of or full back, and allow us to have more positional freedom. Well, not when they had the pace that they did on the wings. I don't know.
No, exactly. They had that direct pacey wingers. They don't need to. Yeah, he can't step inside because just wouldn't be able to get back, would he? It's not Man City.
I don't even think it was anything tactical, Jan. I genuinely think it was we're fucked. We've got no one in that position, so let's just put him in there. It's the only thing I can think of. I personally would have put O'Brien on the left back if there's no Mikalenko.
What about Coleman?
Right back. But Coleman's an actual right back. Or he's played left back before.
O'Brien should be playing centre back, and Coleman should be playing right back. Stop imbalancing everything.
This is my thing. I'm going to leave you with this discussion point. If we had two centre backs and a centre back playing full back and a centre midfield playing full back on the other side, right? Why didn't we have three centre backs and have some wing backs and then use those wing backs to push forward?
What wing backs there?
Well, maybe the bloody Goodbye. I'll let Ryan get a word in. Let him rage bait everyone now.
I don't know if he wants to. But I mean, I think the point stands. Well, Coleman could have played it. It's frustrating. It is frustrating. But I think Tim Irabugam, he was the other one who could have probably been thrown in at fullback. But he looks like a headless chicken when it comes to defending. So I can see why Garner was the one who's disciplined and has played at right back, and he was the one who was tasked to play at left back. But you're taking out the one who can move the ball, with a bit of urgency from that deep lying role. Not that we have anybody who's that good at that anyway.
Do you know what?
You
I
stopped.
personally just think it's a case of, like I said, he's had to play Garner there. I wouldn't have been too bad. I think if Dewsbury Hawks, I think he's got the metal to do it. Play deeper. If he'd have played deeper in the role that you're describing Garner as, then when we need to kind of turn the ball over, when they're coming against us, we need to turn the ball over and then keep hold of it or progress it a little bit more forward. Dewsbury Hall would have been able to do that instead of being as far forward as he was. You have someone like Grealish in the number 10 role. Them two can potentially hold that ball up a little bit more, and we're not under the cosh in that first half. The issue is, can we still get a goal? Because even if we sort that issue out, we never look like scoring a goal anyway. We were just too flat. We weren't able to stretch the wing. We weren't able to stretch the midfield by bringing the full-backs out wide. Wingers then cutting in. We weren't able to do that because we had the centre-back at right-back and a central midfielder at left midfield who's never played there before.
It was like we were playing chess and they had all the chess pieces in the right position and we had a team of bishops. You know, it's just like it was so disjointed. We could have pissing me off so much. Hi, Ollie. When we did get those sporadic attacks, which were rarer than, I don't know, the solar eclipse, get in a decent position and then we wouldn't put the ball in the box because it's almost like we're waiting for some sort of trigger that never happens. Then it ends up back with Pickford who launch it back to them. So
do you know what? It's the most disappointing thing is that Leeds team is such a piss poor side.
It is a poor team. I can't believe it. I can't believe I went to that game. I honestly,
you don't have a very good record, Ryan, when it comes to these local away games, do you?
Stay at home, lad.
I don't think we ever win a game. Oh, we did at Forest, to be fair, but
okay. So you talked about the fullback position, and I just find it baffling that Seamus Coleman got offered a new contract if he can't play when actually needed. And we're talking about a player being an emergency defender, but then what is the point in dishing him out of contract just to say you've got an extra body if you actually need a decent right back and don't play him? Well, because Jake O'Brien is okay there, isn't he? Really, but.
He's good there defensively, I feel, but it's just going forward. He's a centre back. I mean, he's 6'5". He can't cross the ball. But I mean, I'd say he's doing a good job for a centre back at right back. It's just not offering us that balance because the lack of the right winger, a lack of a genuine touchline hogging, pacey right winger would help to alleviate the lack of Jake O'Brien could play there behind him if we had to. And I think that's the Everton transfer strategy. They're thinking, let's spend the big bucks on the right winger and we can make do with Jake O'Brien if we have to, with Patterson and Coleman, on the bench. But, it's frustrating to watch that when we genuinely need a good quality, more attacking right back.
We've gone to, basically what's happened is we've had a stinking pre-season where we've tried to cobble together sides that have been completely ineffective. We've then turned up today on the back of that pre-season with some slight optimism off the back of possibly Jack Grealish joining and Dewsbury Hall. And we have not displayed the intensity, almost shell-shocked that, oh my God, Leeds back in the Premier League, decent atmosphere, a night game, Monday night. Oh, surprise, surprise. They're actually going to try and put us under the cosh and play on the front foot. Everton didn't know how to deal with that. It was pure panic. And it's inexplicable because you've got Tarkowski, Pickford. As Ollie mentions there, Pickford looked a bit shaken. The central defensive three have got a lot of experience. So, and I felt they did deal with the crosses quite well, in fairness. But then when you're playing with a bag of nerves, everyone's out of position and no one knows where because they're playing out of position, they don't roles well enough to be in the right position. So Garner doesn't know when to receive the ball, taking it with the wrong foot. O'Brien is unnatural getting forward. Timur Abunam was the equivalent of one of the statues on Otterspool Beach. He was just a complete mannequin in midfield for 45 minutes. And not willing to receive the ball. And we made everything a battle. Everything was a hospital pass. Everything was suicidal. We were allergic to crossing the halfway line in the first half. They're still trying to work.
Literally didn't step up out of our half in the first half.
Listen, I'm not particularly knowledgeable about football, but either Either
It's
step
true.
up the whole team 10, 15 yards and press Leeds and make them make mistakes, or drop 20 yards, sit in a little bit more, wait for the transitions and the turnovers, and run up the other end and score. We neither
Do you,
did nothing. We were
do you
trying to make.
think though? Do you think that this was part of the tactics that Everton sit deep? Everton conserve their energy for when they bring the substitutes on, and then go full whack at Leeds. And I don't think there's an excuse for
You
that
mean the
really
Sean
in the
Dyche
first
approach?
game of the season. Why first game of the season you don't have the energy to go and match Leeds? It just doesn't make any sense. It's
I
sitting off.
don't. Again, I don't think it's a lack of energy, though, mate. I think it's a case of we know Leeds at home. They're going to be a strong side. They're going to put, especially going to be, like you said, the energy. They're going to try and ruffle. They're going to get the crowd going. That's what they're going to do. That is literally going to be their game. That's what they're going to be banking on. Okay, we could have combated that if we'd have had the left-hand side, if we'd have had the Mikolenko, if we'd have had the Branthwaite, if we'd have had someone with pace out wide, we'd been able to make them think, okay, we can't push as far forward because they catch us on the break. They just turn the ball over and the 3-1 goal. However, unfortunately, we had a back line that wasn't really a back line that was patched together with more holes in it than my undies. And for that reason alone, Moyes was like, well, I'm not going to try and go toe-to-toe with them. I'm just going to sit in, because if we do try and go toe-to-toe, them, we've got a defence that's really, really going to be caught out because they don't play in them roles all the time, and they're not used to that certain shape. But, and I think that he's gone safe because of that. I don't understand why.
The problem is that Everton's squad on paper. Oh, I can't hear Ryan. Is he talking?
You've gone quiet, Ryan.
Ryan, we can't hear you. But Everton's first 11, I think, as we pick a first 11, it'd be pretty close between most Evertonians. Would give most teams a game in the league. We can't hear you, Ryan. And I think as soon as you take one or two players out that team, and it proved last week against Roma, the subs, and then we just look shocking. I think that'll be the case going forward. A lot of people saying Everton will. People I've spoke to, and not just Everton fans, saying Everton will have a good season. And I just reply, well, they won't do as well as you're saying. And other people, I don't feel they're not going to be for Europe, because as soon as they get an injury or two, they're just going to lose games and not pick up points. And today's the first example of that. And we're only match day 1 in. But as you said, without Branthwaite there, without that pace at the back, with Michael Keane, and we're scared to move forward. We're scared to go up the pitch, and we're sitting deep and waiting for things to just hopefully happen at some point. It just a couple of cogs, and it just all crumbles apart.
And you can't play that the way you're trying to play the game. You can't play that unless you've got pace out wide. You've got someone who's able to get the ball, and this is as limited as I think he is. This is where we've done okay with McNeil at times last season, because he just get the ball on the left-hand side from deep, and he just whip the ball into the box. Most time it didn't work because we had no one in the box, but we had that. Or if you're going to play that kind of football, then you have someone who is rapid out wide, and they can just play on the shoulder, play on the half line, and make teams think twice about what they're doing. Help you defensively, but we don't have any of that.
But you could have McNeil on the right wing, but if you had a good quality right fullback who overlaps and has got pace and a trickery, and say to McNeil, we know you're one-dimensional, so you're going to play in the half space just on the edge of the box. Grealish, you're going to play on the left. You're going to tuck in and combine with Dewsbury, or lay it off to McNeil, and he's going to smash it in with his left foot.
Can I come up with an idea which might be unheard of?
Go on.
Okay, so Leeds, for example, they had a clear plan. I don't think we had a defensive plan, as I said a minute ago, to either press up and press, or drop off and defend and play for counters and transitions. I don't think we had either. I think offensively, you looked at Leeds, what they wanted to do was get the ball in behind Willie Gnonto, who would play in behind Jake O'Brien. Jake O'Brien wouldn't know whether to go with Gnonto, the running behind, or go and press their fullback, who would also bomb on their left back, I think. So what Charlie Alcaraz, by not marking and not getting back in shape and not being in the right position, all of them really, it left Jake O'Brien with an impossible task. But they had a plan, getting behind Everton's defence, pull the ball back, cause havoc. I think Everton had the players to do that. I think they had Jack Grealish. I think they had Iliman and Dye. They had Alcaraz, who spends most of the time like Bambi slipping up constantly.
and Beto, who's looking more and more like Victor Enochabi as the weeks go on. But you could play nice interchange football between Dewsbury Hall, Ndai, and Jack Grealish in the left channel, okay? To work triangles, to work crossing opportunities into the box. And then at the back post, you've got Jake O'Brien coming in, you've got Beto, and maybe a third midfielder coming box to box. I'm not sure who that is, maybe Carlos Alcaraz. What is the excuse then for our attempt to try and create chances? I don't think we had a shot before the 77th minute. I think even when we went one goal down, I think we just played into their hands. I don't know what we were doing. Why would you've got these skillful players, you've got these players, you've got a bit about them. Why didn't we say, right, we're going to try and play down this side, we're going to get in behind you, we're going to pull it back? We would have scored a goal. To me today, and I'm going to go now because I've still got to drive back from service station, they look like a bunch of strangers who've never met. They look like players that aren't fit, that aren't ready, and that aren't there to be competitive this season at the moment. I will give you my cause of optimism. I do think, thank you, Kevin, I do believe that some funds will have been kept aside for this final 10 days, this final 7 to 10 days, maybe even later, for the players who become available late on in the window when they haven't got their moves that they want. And I think Everton have therefore played the cards close to the chest. But I would say it wouldn't take an awful lot to improve right wing, right back to the point up, because it is such a weak area. And you do worry, just a final point, that when you leave your business so late, all you do is end up with the trouble, in fairness, that they say we're not selling without a replacement. So I do worry there's a chicken and the egg there. Have we left it too late that clubs won't sell without a replacement? Or, are we leaving it late to see what new players become available or what moves sort of move? We will get signings in, but I'm telling you now, as good as Jack Grealish and all those other players are going to be for us, it won't matter, because if you have weaknesses like we've got, we will get exposed and exploited week after week. We will get targeted week after week, and we will get picked off, and it's got to be addressed. Anyway, I've got to drive back. I can't believe I've gone to Leeds. I thought Leeds fans were really good. The stadium has got atmosphere. You can park. The food is nice. The fans were actually pissing me off at the end, so I started beeping my horn as they were crossing in front of my car. Just giving them they were swearing at me, but I was there. I was there to let them know I was there. But fuck me, I can't believe it's a new season and it's the same old shit, boys. Honest to God.
You know what, mate? I still think we had the third best defence in the league last season. We all knew the one thing we need to strengthen on is the attack and play. Dewsbury Hall was a good addition. Jack Grealish is going to be a fantastic addition. I think Barry is going to his strength once he gets in the game. Once he gets used to the tempo and the fitness and things like that. We just need to sort that right-hand side out. We sort that right-hand side out, we can compete. We can compete with anyone. Today, massive bit of misfortune in terms of all the times an aggressive Leeds side at home, first game back in the Premier League. I think with just a bit of misfortune, we've still got some time left. And as long as we address the key areas, the worrying scenarios in the squad through the rest of the transfer window over the next 2 weeks, it's not doom and gloom. It's one game.
It was an ill-prepared team, immature performance, lacking experience, lacking nous to see through. And I said to people in the away ends, I say, all you need to do here is fall on the floor, win a few fouls, win a few throw-ins, slow the game down, get into suffer leads, let the fans get on the back, let them get angry, and then go and turn them over. And we didn't do that. We just played immature and unprofessional. And that's all.
The ref didn't really give us any fouls. I mean, Undai was assaulted about 5 times, and he never got one.
Chris Kavanagh is. I've met. I'm not going to say too much. Chris bloody Kavanagh wants to be the star of the show every time. That's all I'm going to say.
Do you know what? Does not. I mean, to be fair, there were a couple of terrible calls against Leeds as well, but
there's a corner as well.
But that one early on, the one where it's gone over the line, over the byline, it doesn't get a corner.
it was well a corner, wasn't it? You could see
Um,
that straight away.
Yeah, it was about a foot, 2 foot off the line, and that's just basically the
I don't
shadow
know.
of how it was going to go, isn't it?
The
Yeah,
penalty one, I've only seen it once. I felt like he took about 3 seconds after like it wasn't a gut reaction penalty. It was a sort of Leeds all went mad, said it's a penalty, and then he thought for a couple of seconds and then gave it. I don't
that
think he
was
was actually sure about it. He
that
just
was
felt
all
pressured.
that was always going to get given. Like late to the death, Leeds first game of the season, the fans, Ellen Road, all on his case. The fairy tale written in the stars, the scripted. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying it was a fix, by the way, but it's one of them, isn't it? It all happens. As soon as that's blown for the penalty, you're looking at it. You're looking at the VAR, and although I don't think it's a penalty, and it should never be a penalty, because what's he going to do with his arm? It's behind his back. I knew it was going to get given.
Unfortunately, I kind of sussed this out before the game. I just had this feeling later this afternoon that Everton were going to just find a way to lose this game 1 or 2-0. I said to my friend, he was asking me about bets, and I said it won't be a goal in the first half. It'll be slightly more caged affair. Everton won't go out the blocks. It'll be 0-0, and then they might lose near the end. So, I mean, I know I want to be optimistic, and I was optimistic, but I've got realistic thing when you're seeing the team sheet as well. You just know. But I mean, we could have got something from the game that second half, but unfortunately, yeah, the refereeing thing did cost us from even getting a point there.
The big thing is we were never going to get a win from that. You've seen it when we see the team sheets. When you watch the game, we struggled that first half. Although I don't think Leeds really, apart from 1 or 2 chances, Leeds barely. They had all the possession. They had all the ball on the edge of the box. They had all the possession and them base metrics, but we were scrambling. Yes, did we look good? No. Did we look short? God, no. But we were barely tested. We were barely tested in terms of Pickford and the defense and things like that. So I think we were quite comfortable with that. That's a testament to how poor Leeds are as well, because again, they get down the wing, they cause a lot of trouble. Once the ball comes in, they've got absolutely no end product, and we were okay with that. We'd never look like scoring, and that's on us because we were absolutely garbage.
I just think there's some. I know I get your positivity. I just think there's some alarm bells that I've seen today in terms of Everton's really slow build up at the back, the real lack of nous of just general little bit of build up play, even their energy when it comes to winning second balls or just stopping Leeds from building. Sometimes Leeds just played round us like it was prime Barcelona and we're just watching it happen. I just was concerned about some of that. Like, there's no excuse for the lack of fitness and things. They've had a full pre-season, the same as any other club, and they can't keep tabs with, with some of the team. I just thought the energy and what are they working on, passing triangles in pre-season, but they're not capable of knowing where each other's are or keeping the ball for more than about 5 seconds.
I don't think Moyes has wanted to because he doesn't want any of them players in the squad. Maybe that's right.
No. Yeah, hopefully we'll have to sign a few players and sort this out, and obviously we'll get the players back. It will be a different thing when we have a full 11, of course, but we have to find a way of getting results, and that starts on Sunday, of course, with the new stadium. So that's going to be a completely different affair, isn't it?
It is. Are you going, Basil?
Yeah, I am good.
You said that was such trepidation, mate.
Yeah.
Well, listen, if you're really not feeling like that, I'll have the ticket.
No, I've got to. I'm going to come back. I've decided. I was debating it, and I can't miss it, can I? Really, it's the first.
No, it's a historic one. Well, yeah. I think that's a good way to round up the show and clear on the show.
Yeah.
Have you got any last words, mate?
Let's look ahead. Yeah, let's look ahead and try not to dwell on it too long. I think Moyes will probably say, we were short on players and he wants players, and judge it in a few weeks. I think that's kind of the position we're in. It's just, it's difficult for us to accept that because we want to start positive. We want to start well, and we have got a few signings which seem like promising players, but it's just not going to gel instantly. So let's move on to Brighton, and it's exciting, but I think that's given us a little bit of a reality check on the current position.
Definitely, mate. Definitely, I completely agree with you. Well, listen, like you said, let's not look back. Let's look forwards. We are going to get some players in. We are going to have a good season. I am very, very confident of that. This is one minor setback. But thank you for joining me, Basil. Thank you to everyone who's joined us as well. Everyone who's come in and vented some frustration. Anyone who hasn't yet, please please subscribe, especially on YouTube, because it's much, much better for the algorithm. We really, really appreciate it. So thank you very much. I'm off to start packing. I'm going on holiday in 3 weeks or 2 weeks. And I'll probably, if I don't start packing now, I won't pack in time. So
it's 11 o'clock at night.
I know, mate, and I need someone to do to release some pent-up
Get your
frustration.
mind off it. Yeah,
So,
yeah. Fair enough.
I'm going to go wind my missus up, I think.
All right. I'll let you go.
Good speaking to you. Enjoy next week and up the fucking toffees.
See you soon.
See you soon, mate. Ta-ra.
Bye.